yeah, basically, I want to talk about, since we all played RPGs when we were younger, or even more recently. I want to know, what is your guys' favorite?
Your guys'?
Yeah, your guys'.
Your guys'.
Your guys'.
What kind of guys' do you?
What kind of guys'?
We're dropping the ball.
Why he says guys'?
The quality control of this podcast is way below the norm, and I just want to
He's a
point that out.
Portuguese.
I'm a Portuguese. Yeah,
He's a Portuguese. That's why he says you guys'.
Use guys'.
Wow.
All right, who wants
Lame
to start?
joke done. But yes,
We already had that.
what is your
No,
favorite?
lame joke.
What is your favorite RPG, and what is your favorite moment in an RPG?
Who's starting?
So who is starting this? Who's willing to take the?
I'll do it.
The
All
reins.
right, go.
All right, my favorite RPG is, as I've mentioned before on the podcast, Chrono Trigger, because I think Chrono Trigger is essentially, for the old generation, the kind of sprite-based Super Nintendo era JRPGs, of which there were quite a many really great ones. Chrono Trigger is the most perfect one. It is the one that took all the greatest elements in the Final Fantasy games of that era and several other JRPGs in that era.
Dragon Quest.
Yeah, and took out all of the annoying parts. So there's no random encounters. There's a great storyline. Every character has different abilities, so that, you know, it's not like the early Final Fantasy games where, well, like Final Fantasy 6, 7, and I think 8, I don't know, where the magic, you can just teach anyone any magic you want. Different characters in Chrono Trigger have different magic. So there's actually like reasons to bring parties of different people, because they have different strengths and weaknesses, as opposed to just take whoever you want because they're all the same.
Yeah, that's one
The
of the downsides
storytelling
I
is
had
great.
to Final Fantasy
The gameplay is tight as a drum. The boss fights are entertaining as hell. So basically, Chrono Trigger has and was the first game with multiple endings. The first RPG with multiple endings.
I don't know if that's exactly true,
I think so.
but I know it's the one with. It had a lot of. It had a lot of
endings.
meaningful endings.
Right, but I think as far as I remember, it was the first one to have multiple different endings depending on gameplay decisions, and it was also the first one to have New Game Plus, where if you beat the game the hardest way you could beat the game, you could start a new game with the characters at the existing level and with the existing equipment you had when you finished the first game.
Yeah.
Which is excellent, because if you're interested in speedrunning bosses, which I was in this game, you have to actually play through the game 3 times to get all the best equipment possible, to get the most optimum party for speedrunning. But anyway, point is, that's my favorite overall RPG. I loved Chrono Trigger. I have played that game dozens, if not 30 times, probably, since it came out.
I have played it a bunch of times as well. So
Yeah, I played
no,
it. I played the game all
It's a
kinds of
great
times.
game.
But actually, that's not where I'm going to go for my favorite RPG moment. My favorite RPG moment came in Dragon Age Origins, and it came thanks to G, actually.
I'm a big dick.
Yeah, because
I do good.
I was relatively early in the game. I was only about level 11 or 12.
No, you were 10.
No, I was level 10.
I remember the level because you told me, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh yes.
And G mentioned that perhaps I should go try and do Morrigan's side quest, where you go confront her mother, Flemeth, who's the Witch of the Wilds in Dragon Age Origins. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't played Origins. When you go and confront her, she turns into a high dragon and proceeds to stomp the shit out of you.
Yeah, you
I
can't
was
do
level 10. I died like 30 times.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, look, it's an old lady. Oh, I'm going to fight this old lady. Oh, this old lady sounds like she's kind of intimidating. Oh my god, it's a high dragon.
Dead.
Yeah, dead.
So what you're saying here is that your favorite RPG moment came because G was a dick.
Pretty much.
And because an old lady turned into a dragon.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
And I want you to understand, those of you out there who've played Skyrim but haven't played Dragon Age Origins, dragons in Dragon Age are not the kind of lol it's dead enemies that they are in Skyrim.
Oh yeah, Skyrim's
In Flemeth turns into the strongest high dragon that's in the entire game, and Flemeth has like 7 or 8 or 10 times the hit points of any of the dragons in Skyrim, and will kill your tank if you're like level 10.
And not
will
paying
kill your
attention?
tank in about 15 seconds.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking
Like
I
high
did-
dragons in
what I did was not nice.
Dragon Age Origins are not a joke, kids.
Wow.
The one you fight on the mountain top is actually really easy in comparison, because the problem with fighting Flemeth is you're in a confined area.
You can't run.
Yeah, you don't have enough room to back away, to just be like, you can't just back away 100 miles and use crossbows. So it's like, yeah, it's that fight's hard. That's like one of the 2 hardest boss fights in the entire game. And so, because I totally didn't see it coming and got the shock factor of her turning into a high dragon, that's my favorite RPG moment.
That sounds pretty good.
All right.
All right, Mike.
All right, moving on. Who wants to take the mantle away from Lorenzo?
Okay, I'll go. But are we talking about moment and favorite game, or
Favorite RPG
and then the
favorite moment.
They could be from the same game or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's two
man.
things.
favorite
I didn't
RPG
even
is
know about
definitely Shining Force 2.
But you haven't played Shining Force 3 yet, Mike.
No, I haven't. But Shining Force 2 is amazing.
No, I agree that that's a fantastic game.
Okay. Aside from there, my favorite RPG moment would probably be from the game Legend of Dragoon. Before I even talk about Legend of Dragoon, I just want to say that Legend of Dragoon was amazing.
That's such a sick game.
It was amazing.
High five.
And part 2 was supposed to come out, but then they decided that they're not going to release it.
I
And
didn't
that
even
just
know there
got
was
released.
a...
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
Does it exist at all, or is it just in
No,
Japan?
apparently they were making it, and then they decided to move on to different projects. Legend of Dragoon 2 would never happen. And thank you, Dix, for walking away and going to another project. So anyways,
He's
What
not-
happened? Did EA buy them?
I think they're still owned by
you know
Sony,
what?
or at least
That
the
would have been
IPs.
okay. At least it would have been a fucking reason I could hate
Legit.
somebody. Now it's just like a mass group of people who just decided to just take off and do something else. But I actually have 2 moments. The first one was I finally beat one of the bosses who was extremely hard, and I can't remember the names, but it was like a chick in blue armor, and like pretty much all the girls in this game like have a lack of regard for armor. Like they're wearing armor in like all the right
What
places.
game is this?
But literally,
What game is
the
it?
right places just to cover up like their
What?
female
Legend of
parts.
Dragoon.
Legend of Dragoon.
Oh, fuck, sorry.
They don't actually wear
It's a
armor.
PS1 game.
It doesn't
Right.
make any
Yeah, I
sense.
have it. Sick.
Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't make any sense.
Sicking.
But it was awesome, and she has like a water dragon that you're fighting at the same time, and she's extremely hard. And when I finally beat her, I was like pretty happy about it. Fucking
You came all over the walls. We got
yeah, I really did. But the second favorite part was it was probably one of the first 3D JRPGs I played. Because I played a lot of like Shining Force and those other ones like Final Fantasy where like, you know, little sprites walking around the screen. It's like the first 3D one. I was playing with a buddy of mine. I was at his house. And one of the characters, his name is Albert, showed up on the screen. And he's like, oh crap, who's this chick? And then turned around and ended up being a guy. But from behind it looked like a girl. And we're like, yeah, I guess that's what we're going to have to expect for the rest of this game, because literally every guy in the game looks like a female. Then we realized that's like the whole JRPG franchise.
That's
Yeah.
basically what it is.
Yeah,
And-
that's yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is why, you know...
So that's why
on-
it's my favorite moment, because that was when I finally realized.
When you finally got JRPGs.
Yeah, I got it.
You finally
I
realized
understand.
you were interested in traps.
Oh,
No, it's when I-
no.
oh god.
Okay, so
Mike's crying, guys. We put him into a state of depression.
Oh fuck.
It's all right.
Go,
I'm
man.
trying not to make
It's all right, Mike. It's okay.
Okay,
It's the end of it.
so my favorite game, my favorite RPG game would definitely be it's Ogre Battle 64.
I never actually got to play that,
That
game
game is
because
so
my
good.
64 like burnt out.
Yeah,
But,
well,
yeah.
do it. Find something. Find a way. They have it on. You have a Wii. Fucking, it's on the store. Buy it.
It is?
Yeah, it's sick. Go home, Jay.
Oh wait.
You have my Wii. Give it back. I want to play
I've done
Ogre
it.
Battle 64
Sorry,
right
I
now.
forgot to mention the same day I read the news about them canceling Legend of Dragoon 2 being made. They actually are releasing Legend of Dragoon 1 on the PSN.
Yeah, that's being on. It's gonna be on PSN this week, I believe.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be May 1st. But yeah,
I
close.
still have.
Oh, May 1st. Well, then I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, no, it's close. It's
Never
close.
listen
All
to
right,
me
I'm
again,
done.
guys.
Okay, yeah. So my favorite RPG has to be hands down Ogre Battle 64. It's not even. It's not even like a legit RPG. It's like a strategy RPG, but I don't give a fuck.
Oh, it's got role playing
Yeah,
elements.
it's got role-playing elements, but it's just a sick game, and it's ridiculously long, and there's just so much crap you have to do, and there's so many side quests to get like special characters to make your army better, and I don't know, it's just fucking. I love that game. The first time I played that game was like, it was an awakening. I became a man the first time I played that game. For RPG moment. Definitely that time in Final Fantasy when Jenna Hayes came in with the fucking schoolgirl outfit on.
All right, what? I'm pretty sure
That's
that
not a
didn't happen.
game? It's not a game?
No, it's not a game.
Okay.
No.
No, favorite RPG moment. Have you played Final Fantasy VIII? Anyone?
I've played every Final Fantasy. Sometimes
Have
I
you?
wish I
I
haven't.
haven't played it yet.
Okay, you know the Ragnarok?
Yeah, I do. I am aware of the Ragnarok, the ship, right?
Yeah. The fucking when that thing like just blows up, fucking Infinite Pandora, just destroys the shit out of it.
Yeah, that was just kind of weird.
That's so wicked. It's this ship they find in space, and it's shaped like a dragon, and it comes and just fucking shoots the shit out of this thing, and I love that part.
That part sort of always struck me as like a Deus Ex Machina point, but
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty
because
cool.
they were like, how the fuck are we gonna get into this thing? This thing's impenetrable.
And then
This
all of a sudden fucking dragon-
This ship that's
dragon
like
ship.
derelict in space has this balls cannon that's shaped like a dragon. It's just retarded. My favorite moment ever.
Favorite moment. Okay.
So we've got a couple of favorite moments. Well, actually, because you mentioned Dragon from Demon Souls earlier, so we've got 3 mentions of Dragon so far.
Dragons are awesome.
Dragons are pretty cool, man. I like dragons.
Yeah.
All right, so you already got your favorite one out
That's
there.
why Skyrim
It's
took
you.
my money.
I suppose I will talk now
When
about
are we getting
my...
to ride them in Skyrim? That's what I want.
Never.
I want a
because
dragon pony. Continue.
That's right.
You could change all the dragons in Skyrim into My Little Ponies. And
That'd be amazing.
that's if you had the PC version, by the way,
I know.
which you don't, so not going to happen.
Continue.
All right, so my favorite RPG, it's kind of hard for me because I keep going back and forth between the first RPG I played, which has a special place in my heart because it was the first RPG I played,
Which was?
Earthbound,
Earthbound, yeah.
Oh yeah, that game's fucked up.
which I rented not knowing, like, what the fuck is this game? And I played it for like 5 minutes, I'm like, this game's bullshit. And I continued to play it, and I was like, holy shit, this game's amazing because it was just... I don't know, everything about that game, I
That's
love
what I
that
felt
game.
with fucking Xenoblade.
Well, you hate the Wii too, so it's like...
No, but I was like, this game's fucking terrible, and then like all of a sudden,
Yeah, that's true. I was there for the first 30 minutes.
yeah, but then like,
I saw the epiphany happen, and it was like,
yeah, and then wow, sorry, continue.
good stuff. But yeah, like, I would have to say that my favorite RPG is probably Final Fantasy IV.
Which one is that? I'm bad with numbers.
That is
the one with
the
the-
one that was
the
originally
White
released
Knight
in the
and
United
the-
States as
the
Final
Paladin.
Fantasy II.
Oh,
It's
with
got,
Cecil.
yeah, it's got Cecil, who's the Dark Knight
Cecil?
/ Paladin, Kane, the Betraying.
That's Final
Dragon
Fantasy
guy.
3 in Japan, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
No, it's Final Fantasy IV in Japan.
So what's it here? 3?
Over
Oh,
here was
released
originally
as
2.
3. Was
So
it?
No, it was. You can't. Okay, we can't get into a Final Fantasy discussion without mentioning this because Final Fantasy. Fuck you guys.
Oh,
You
wait,
can
no,
fucking name
right.
shit.
It was released as 2 over here because it was Final Fantasy 6 that was released as Final Fantasy 3 in North America.
Yes, exactly. And
Okay.
Final Fantasy V was never released, which I would say is a close second as my favorite actual RPG because that game brought the idea of me min-maxing things into it, and I was like, holy shit, I could have a fucking dragoon that casts white magic? That's... what? Why wouldn't I have that? That sounds amazing.
Well, optimizing in Final Fantasy 6 was too easy to break, utterly.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, everyone's got everything. Okay, you're
What's the
done.
one with Terra?
That is Final Fantasy VI. Now, Final Fantasy VI...
I'll mention that after he's done.
A lot of people will go back and forth saying, okay, Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy VI have the best story. I like Final Fantasy IV because it is literally the first Final Fantasy IV, the first Final Fantasy that I played, and that's why it is my favorite RPG. But my favorite RPG moment is... it's sort of like a whole experience that you get at the end of Earthbound, where you're facing
Don't you fight a giant baby or something?
Yeah, sorta. Kinda. Essentially, the
Yeah,
last...
sort of, kind of. It's either a baby or not, Jay.
The last
can't be a
boss
little bit
of
pregnant.
Earthbound is you going back in time to defeat the antagonist of the game, which is named, I think, it's
You
hard to
don't do it in
pronounce.
the womb,
His name
do
is
you?
Gygus, I think. I think I'm pronouncing it right.
Do you pull it? Never mind.
No.
Can't make that joke.
Essentially, the last battle is a mind fuck, and the creator of the game, I think, I'm trying to pronounce the Japanese name here, so forgive me if I completely butcher it. But
Just
his
say
name,
samurai sword. It works.
Samurai. No, I think it's Shigesto Itoi. He basically
Good-
based
good
that boss.
Japanese.
That's serious.
Yeah, he based that boss battle on an experience that he had as a kid when he mistakenly walked into an adult movie during a rape scene,
Wow.
and that last bottle has like quotes from that movie in it.
Wow.
So as a kid, I was watching that. And
Wow,
it's-
that's fucking amazing.
That's
and, like-
great to put in front of children as a gameplay.
I need to make
this
some
game was
fucking
rated E
video
for
games.
everyone, guys.
Oh yeah, it's for everybody.
Well, actually, no.
for
This was.
everyone.
I think it was rated KA at the time. Kids and
Was
kids
it
to
Peggy
adults.
18? Was it Peggy 18?
No, it was not Peggy 18.
Every time I hear that, I want to fucking punch him.
Peggy Vincenci. But yeah, the last boss of that game.
You just said 2000.
It's fine. You can't play it until then.
Peggy 2000.
You gotta wait till you're 2000 to play this game. But the entire the game has the boss has different stages to it. Where originally you're just fighting it and it's got your face in it, and then it turns into a weird
Does it have a squirty face?
fetus form. No squirty faces, sadly. But eventually it gets to a point where you
So
can't even
it's
damage
not
it.
Cytheria, basically.
Like this last boss, you can't even damage it at a point. And it's just screaming obscenities at you it hurts, it feels good. And you're like, what the fuck's going on? You're like, what the fuck is going on? I'm gonna die terribly. So when I was a kid, and this is why this is my favorite moment, I was like, I can't fucking beat this. I'm gonna fucking die. All my characters are dead except for fucking Paula. I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. I'm gonna pray. Praying wins the game for you. That is how you beat the last boss. My fucking last desperate attempt to beat the game by fucking praying is what you need to kill the boss. So I just sort of spoiled it in a way, but fuck it. I don't know. That game came out in like 19.
Power of prayer.
That's probably what he did. He probably was like in the theater, saw what he was saying. He's like, oh my god, he went down the corner and just started praying.
He just started praying. He's like, I gotta get out of here, guys. I gotta get out of here. But that's, I don't know. That.
See, if he would have been a future 4chan user, he would have been in the corner crying and fabbing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is why I sort of agree with some, I don't know, this whole thing about why you I mean, you speak a lot about why you don't like Nintendo. I'm still fucking pissed off at Nintendo for not bringing Mother 3
macro that you've never seen.
Not bringing what? I can't hear you over the sound of Lorenzo being loud.
I am still pissed at Nintendo for not bringing Mother 3 over, which is the sequel to Earthbound, because just like in Japan, Final Fantasies, the Earthbound games, are called Mother in Japan. So there's Mother 1, which came out on the NES, which was supposed to come out on the NES here, but they never released it.
It's a weird game name.
Yeah.
It's like a birth sim.
Basically Mother 1, 2, and 3.
Press A to push. Press B to contract.
Well, at the end of the game, you do sort of fight some sort of weird fetus monster. So
I love fetus monsters. That's fucking Jay. You got a fucked up life.
I go back and what I did in Earthbound is I went back in time and I avoided the boss.
Jason.
Yeah, clearly.
We gotta do a documentary.
You know
on
what?
that.
That's a brilliant idea. Like if you can't beat the boss in the future, go back in time and abort him as a fetus. There you go. That's not awkward at all, is it?
Just take a vacuum.
Equip coat hanger? What the fuck?
Do you equip the coat hanger?
Yes or no?
That's not right.
Yeah, we went there.
I wasn't paying attention at first, and then I
pray. But yeah, basically, I want to talk about, since we all played RPGs when we were younger, or even more recently. I want to know, what is your guys' favorite?
Your guys'?
Yeah, your guys'.
Your guys'.
Your guys.
What kind of guises do you?
What kind of guys?
You want to see the point why he says guises?
The quality control of this podcast is way below the norm, and I just want to.
He's a
point that out.
Portugueses.
I'm a Portugueses. Yeah,
He's a
that's right.
Portugueses. That's why he says you guises.
They use guises.
Wow.
All right, who wants
Lame
to start?
joke. Done. But yes,
We already had that.
what is your
Lame
favorite?
joke.
What is your favorite RPG, and what is your favorite moment in an RPG?
Who's starting?
So who is starting this? Who's willing to take the?
I'll do it.
The reins?
All right, go.
Yeah.
Which is excellent, because if you're interested in speedrunning bosses, which I was in this game, you have to actually play through the game 3 times to get all the best equipment possible to get the most optimum party for speedrunning. But anyway, point is, that's my favorite overall RPG. I loved Chrono Trigger. I have played that game dozens, if not 30 times, probably, since it came out.
I have played it a bunch of times as well. So
Yeah, I played
No,
I played the
understand.
game all
It's a
kinds of
great
times,
game.
but actually, that's not where I'm going to go for my favorite RPG moment. My favorite RPG moment came in Dragon Age Origins. It's a great storyline. Every character has different abilities, so that, you know, it's not like the early Final Fantasy games where, well, like Final Fantasy 6, 7, and I think 8, I don't know, where the magic, you can just teach anyone any magic you want. Mm-hmm. Different characters in Chrono Trigger have different magic. So there's actually like reasons to bring parties of different people, because they have different strengths and weaknesses, as opposed to just take whoever you want because they're all the same.
Yeah, that's one
The
of the downsides
storytelling
I
is
had
great.
to Final Fantasy
The gameplay is tight as a drum. The boss fights are entertaining as hell. So basically, Chrono Trigger has and was the first game with multiple endings. The first RPG with multiple endings.
I don't know if that's exactly true,
I think so.
but I know it's the one with. It had a lot of. It had a lot of
endings.
meaningful endings.
Right, but I think as far as I remember, it was the first one to have multiple different endings depending on gameplay decisions, and it was also the first one to have New Game Plus, where if you beat the game the hardest way you could beat the game, you could start a new game with the characters at the existing level and with the existing equipment you had when you finished the first game. All right, my favorite RPG is, as I've mentioned before on the podcast, Chrono Trigger, because I think Chrono Trigger is essentially, for the old generation, the kind of sprite-based Super Nintendo era JRPGs, of which there were quite a many really great ones. Chrono Trigger is the most perfect one. It is the one that took all the greatest elements in the Final Fantasy games of that era and several other JRPGs in that era.
Dragon Quest.
Yeah, and took out all of the annoying parts. So there's no random encounters.